Hey everyone, I hope you're doing great. Welcome back. So in today's video, we will be going to do an exciting project that is end-to-end DevSecOps project that we will be going to do. And in this project, we will be going to understand how can we integrate multiple tools in our CI/CD pipeline, how can we configure our Kubernetes cluster, and we are going to use EKS cluster, that is a cloud managed Kubernetes cluster. So earlier in the previous end-to-end DevSecOps project, we have created our own self-managed Kubernetes cluster. But in this video, we are going to use EKS. So we should know each and every way, like how can we use different types of Kubernetes clusters. So with the help of that, we can get the exposure of multiple types of clusters. Also, we will be going to use ArgoCD for the GitOps approach. So we will also understand how ArgoCD works, how can we configure ArgoCD, and then we will be going to deploy our application for the first time. And then after that, we will be going to deploy the version 2 of our application so we can understand how CI/CD works, how can we deploy multiple versions of a particular application. Along with that, this project contains a lot of tools, heavy project. So I would recommend you to give a sufficient time to this project, and I am damn sure that you will have a lot of takeaways once you will complete this project. I'm also covering a lot of interview related things that a interviewer can ask in respect of a particular tool. So that kind of things also we will be going to include. So if I talk about the tools, so we will be going to use Terraform, that is the infrastructure as a code. Then I will be going to implement this project on AWS cloud. If you have other cloud like GCP or Azure, feel free to go for it, but most of the thing would be remain same. Then after that, for CI/CD, we will have Jenkins, and we will be going to deploy our Terraform configurations or and source code applications using Jenkins itself. Then we will have multiple stages that makes DevSecOps. So we have implemented security scans at every gate, like we have code quality analysis, SonarQube, then we have trees for file scanning and image scanning. Then after that, we have OS dependency check. We will be also going to implement that thing. And in the end, Kubernetes and Docker is very important when you doing a end-to-end DevSecOps project in terms of where you're deploying your applications in containers. So that is also a very important thing. So let's get started, and happy learning from my side. And feel free to reach out to me on the Discord server, so you can join the Discord server. And the link of the Discord server I have added in the description, so feel free to join us. And if you have any doubts or queries while implementing this project, don't hesitate and reach out to us, and let's learn something new. As we are going to do multiple things in this project, from creating the infra to deployment on the Kubernetes cluster using ArgoCD. So we will have to understand the workflow, what are the things that we are going to do. And also I have created one architecture diagram. So with this help, we can understand what are the things that we have to do in this project. So first of all, I will start with the first thing that you can see is Jenkins server. So we will have our Jenkins server on our EC2 machine. So for that, we are going to create it using Terraform. And after creating the EC2 machine, so on that EC2 machine, we will be going to do everything like from that Jenkins server, we will be going to configure Terraform. And with the help of Terraform, we will create the EKS cluster. And this is a managed Kubernetes cluster, so we'll have node groups as well. Then after that, we will also use Jenkins for our CI/CD purpose. So we will have the pipeline in which we will have multiple stages, like we will do code quality analysis, then we will install the dependencies, we do some dependency checks, that is kind of a security checks that we are implementing for our application. Then after that, we will do file scanning. So if our any of the file will contain the vulnerability, so it will do that scan as well. Then we will build our Docker image for our application code, and after building that image, we will push that image on Docker Hub. Also we can use AWS ECR, but for now we are using Docker Hub. Then again we will scan the Docker image via Trivy, and after that we will have the new updated image. So for that we will update the image on the GitHub repo, and as soon as the repository will get the update, so ArgoCD will trigger the deployment with the new updated Docker image. So these are the things that we are going to do. So this is the end-to-end project that we are doing, and we have to follow each and every step carefully, because if any of the thing will break, so it may break the entire system. So we have to follow the each of the thing carefully. So for that, this is the blog that I've written, and like this blog is written 2 years back, but I have already updated the things that I have to do. So if you have to follow anything, so you can find this blog. So as the architecture thing has been completed, now let's move on to the next thing, which is the implementation part. So I will just go to my VS Code. So this is the same repository. Now let's start configuring the new things, that whatever we have to do. So here you can see the same thing that I was showing you on the GitHub repository. So I have already updated few things in this code, and the thing that we have to use this repository's code, we have to use this repository's code, and we have to build the end-to-end project where we will deploy our application. So there are multiple folders. So we will be going to go one by one, because if I talk about every folder in one go, so it might confuse you. So the first thing that we have to do is Jenkins server TF. So this is our beginning to configure the Jenkins server. So this is the Terraform code to configure the EC2 machine, which will have the Jenkins server. So I have written the code, and I will also explain the code, whatever we are doing it, because I can write the code again, because it will take a more time, and ultimately it will become around 7 to 8 hours of video, and I don't want to do that. So I will just go through the code, what exactly we are doing. So let's start with the first thing, that is backend.tf. So you can see this is the Terraform section, and the code is updated few minutes ago. So you can see that this is the bucket, S3 bucket we are using. So this is for TF state file we are doing it, and also we are using the TF state locking on the same S3 bucket. Then we have the version. So the version is 1.13.3. Currently, I think it's 1.14.0. So this is the backend.tf we are using. Then we have the provider.tf. So this is the AWS provider we are using, and the region is we are using UST East 1. Then we have VPC. So this is one of the important thing, because to create the EC2 machine, we need networking services. So we have VPC, which has the CIDR block 10.0.0.0, and it will have around 65,000 IPs according to the CIDR block is 16. Then we have internet gateway, we have subnets, we have route tables, then we have security groups. So like everything is basic, and if you go to the security group, so I would say that we're opening the dedicated ports for the dedicated tools. So 22 is open to SSH into the machine, and then we have 8080. So we have 8080 for Jenkins, and then 9000 for SonarQube. So as we are going to configure SonarQube on the Jenkins server, so that's why we have open 9000. Then we have CIDR blocks, and for egress we can see that this is the all traffic allow to go to the internet. So this is the security group. Then we can go to the next thing, which is gather.tf. So this is the AMI ID fetching from AWS. So as we need AMI ID to create the EC2 machine, so we are using Ubuntu 22.04. So this will fetch the AMI ID for this Ubuntu version. Then if I go to the EC2 machine, EC2 configuration, so you can see that we have the AMI ID coming from data resource. Then we have instance type. So you can see that the instance type is 2x large. So we are using this big instance because there are a lot of things will be going to on that machine. So that's why I'm using it. You can also go with X large, because this is not that much. I'm just keeping it for my purpose, because sometimes the server used to get slow. Like sometimes, I'm not saying that it will, but you can go with X large as well. But if it doesn't work, so you can simply go with 2x large. But if you're thinking too much about the cost, so you can go with the X large as well. And then we have the key name. So to SSH into the particular machine, so we can have the key name. And I think the key name is not updated, so I will update that. Then we have subnet ID instance profile we are using. So instance profile, that it will have the permissions for the particular AWS services. So for that we have created the instance profile. So this is the file for the instance profile, and this is using this role. So if I go to the role, so this is the role that is for EC2 machine. Then it will have the permission. So we can see that this is the administrator access policy we're giving. But as I already written that just for testing purpose, don't try to give it administrator access. So if you need a lot of services access, so you should go with the power user AWS manage policy, or you can use a dedicated permissions for the policy attachment. So for now, it's a testing purpose. We are doing it this for a testing purpose or learning purpose, so it's fine. So this is the policy that we are doing. So if I go back to the EC2, so this is the instance profile has been done. Then we have root block device. This is the 30 gigs of storage I allocated for this EC2 machine. Then we have the install script. So in this install in script, we have multiple tools that needs to be installed. So let's go one by one. What are the tools that we require to install it? So the first thing that we need to install Jenkins. So for that we need OpenJDK. So we are installing the OpenJDK version 21. Then we are installing the Jenkins. Then after that we are going to build our images. So for that we are installing Docker. Then after that we are using Docker to configure SonarQube. Then after that we are installing Terraform because we have to configure EKS cluster and creating the EKS cluster using Terraform. So we need Terraform because like as we need to run the Terraform CLI commands. Then after that, we are using kubectl utility because we have to run kubectl commands on that EKS cluster. So for that, we need kubectl utility. Then we have AWS CLI install. So this is also one of the important thing because we have to run few AWS CLI commands over there. So for that, we need it. Then in the end, we are installing Trivy for image scanning and file scanning. So this tool needs to be installed on the EC2 machine as well. So I will update the key name and then we will follow the other operations. So in the variables.tf where I should get the key name, yes, I can see this is the key name. I will just go to my browser and will get the key pair that I have, or I can generate the new key pair. Also, you can generate it via Terraform as well, but I don't think so that we need to do it right now. So I will just delete this key. And I will create the new key with the name. Now let's keep the same name and I will use this key name. I have the key, okay. So now we can run the Terraform commands. So like as there are multiple things that we have to do, so I will just also create one thing which is process.md so we won't get confused. So this is the process.md, and whatever the things that we have to follow, we can write it. So we can write create Jenkins EC2 machine via tf. If it's completed, we write it completed, so we will be able to track these things. So let's create the EC2 machine first. So for that, I will run, like I will go to the file, which is, I will go to the folder, which is Jenkins server tf. Then I will run Terraform init command. And this is saying that we did not authenticate things. So for that, we have to log in to that. And we used to do, we used to run one command, which is AWS configure, but in latest version, we don't have to do that. So if you update your AWS CLI version, you can also do that, or you can also configure using AWS login command that you use to get in Azure or GCP. So I will run the command AWS login. So now it will automatically open my browser, and then it is also signing in. Let's see what will happen. And I will select this my account, and your credential has been shared successfully and can be used until your session expire. So like it will provide me 1 day session or around 20-hour session. This is the session expire it is talking about. So if I just go back to my VS Code, so I should be authenticated. So we can see that the credential has been updated for this user. So if I just run Terraform in it, so it should work. Okay, so it is not still work because Terraform needs AWS because Terraform needs AWS CLI commands, because with the help of those CLI secret access keys and access keys, it will be able to authenticate with the AWS provider. So let's create the secret access keys and all those things. So I will go to my IAM section. Then there is my user. I will click on this. Then I will generate the access key. So this is like, we'll delete this first. Now I will generate the new access key. Click on next. Trace project and go in. Oops. Now I will run AWS configure to provide the new secrets. The region would be same and also output format would be same. Now let's run Terraform init command. And we can see this is like able to authenticate. Now there is some version mismatch, so I can totally understand because these types of error we will be getting in this project. If you have already installed latest versions, you don't have to do that. But as I'm doing it, so it will also update all the repositories things, all the updated codes till the end of the video. So I will just provide the version name, which is backend.tf as currently 5.49. So I think let's upgrade this first, then it should work, because there is, yeah, so this is because .terraform.log file is there. So I will just delete it, and I hope the version should be different. Yes. So now I can run Terraform init command, and now it is start looking for this version, and it means that it will work. So currently it's fetching for 6.23 version because this is the latest version by Terraform for AWS. So if we want, we can also provide the version is 6.23.0. And the point is that if you specify greater than or equals to, it means that whatever the latest version is available, it will try to fetch it, this one. So I will keep this for true because sometimes new configuration needs to be there. So that's why I'm keeping this. So it will take some time because it needs to install a lot of things. So that's why. So initialization has been completed. Now let's try to run the Terraform plan. So I will have to provide the file name for tfvars as well. The file name is variables.tfvars. So we can see there are 10 resources needs to be added, VPC and all those services. Then in the end, we should have EC2 machines. So yes, this is the EC2 machine, and also user data is there. So let's run the Terraform apply. Let's wait for this. So we can see that all the resources has been added. So let's go to the AWS and validate. So first I will remove this, then I will go to the EC2 section and there should be one instance running. And yes, we can see this is the Jenkins server. So I will connect with the machine. So I will take the IP, then I will open the terminal. So now we will SSH into the Jenkins machine. So I will provide the location for this. Okay, so we have to provide the permission as well, and that I forgot. Let's try to SSH again. And we are in the Jenkins server. Okay. So it will take some time. We have to validate few of the tools that we were installing via user data. So that needs to be installed. So like if I run AWS hyphen version, so if it's not installed, so I don't think so that there is an issue because it takes some time. So let's wait for 4 to 5 more minutes and I'm hoping that it should be there. I think the AWS and all other utilities have not been installed and I think there is some issues with the script. So no worries, like as I'm again testing it. So what I'll do, I'll just copy that script content here and then we will run the, so I will just copy the content of this script and I will create one file with the name of install script.sh and I will copy the content. Maybe I'm forgetting a particular thing that is not working, so I will just save and exit. I will make this executable. And if something breaks here, so I will fix that. I will replace the existing script with this one. So let's try to run this. And yeah, it's started running. And again, it takes time because a lot of things needs to be installed. And we can see that the JDK is installing. So now we can see that the JDK has been installed. This is the version that we can see. Then now it is installing the Jenkins. Then we can see Jenkins and NetTools. So now we can see that all the things have been installed and there were no issues in the script. So exactly we are not able to find why the script was not running. But if you get that error, so maybe I did not configure the script properly, but earlier it was working. I don't know why it's not working, but no worries. The things are already installed and I would say that the automated process is already done because we just need to copy and paste and it installed all those things. So we will have to validate that thing as well. We can just validate one by one. So I will just go to this. So let's see the Java version first. So the Java version is 21 and if I just check for the Jenkins, so this is 2.528 and also we can check the ports. So this, with the help of ports, we can understand what are the services are running. So Jenkins is running, Docker is running, like Jenkins is running, Docker container for SonarQube is running. So if we check the SonarQube, so we have running it. Then after that, let's check the Docker is already installed, I guess. We should check for Terraform. Then we can check for, see, you can see the error, which you can see the new version, which is 1.14.0. So we have to update that thing. Then we have the kubectl installed. After that, AWS is already installed. In the last, we can check Trivy. So Trivy is also installed. So all the tools have been installed. Now we will have to log into the Jenkins server first. So for that, I will get the password first. and I think this is the way to get the password. Let me get the command for this. I think we have, yeah, we have already command. I just didn't get it. Okay, so let's get the command. So this is the, so this command we will use, and this is the password. So let's get the IP first of this machine. So I will just copy this and will access it on 8080. Then I will copy the password. We can paste this. I'll click on continue. Okay. Now we will go with the install suggested plugins section. Let's wait for it's getting completed. So meanwhile, we can do few things like we have to upgrade the version for EKS TF. So this would be 1.14.0 and this is fine 5.49.0. Okay. Also, I will just do one fmt command to format all the code. Okay, now we will have the updated code. Okay, so far we have created the Jenkins server and now we have to configure the Jenkins. This is completed. Now let's go back to the, yes. Yes, so I will create the user with the name this. Keep this name. Now I'll click on save and finish. Then let's start using it. Now we have to configure the Jenkins. So let's go to the blog and let's see what are the things that we have to configure. So we did this, we did this. So let's first configure the things related to Terraform and AWS because we have to create the EKS cluster first. So we have to do the infra part first where we have to deploy the EKS cluster. So for that, we will install the plugins first and I will go to the plugin section. Then in the available plugins, we need to have the first thing, which is AWS correct, because we need to specify the credentials for AWS to integrate Jenkins with AWS. After that, we have to add the pipeline steps, which is AWS pipeline steps. Then few other things that we need, like stage view, because if you want to see the pipelines view, so in today's time it is automatically, by default it is disabled, so we have to enable it. Then we have to enable the rebuild as well, because I would like to go with this. And let's see what are the other things that we have to install. So this is enough, so I will click on install and I will click on restart. Then I will log into the Jenkins. Now we have to add the credentials for our AWS. So I will go to the credentials part and I'll click on add credentials. Then here you can see now AWS credentials option. So I will select this. Then we will provide AWS-creds, and like I have to provide the same credentials that I'm using in our script. So if I just show you the script for Jenkins pipeline code, which is this, so it is using this credentials. So I will copy this one and then provide the description AWS corrects. Then we will use the same credentials. That we have already created. So I will copy this one here, then this one, secret access key. After that, I will click on create. So the credential has been updated. Then after that, we have to create the job to deploy our Kubernetes cluster. So I will go back to this and I will open this here. Configure Jenkins for AWS integration completed. And create the job and deploy EKS cluster using Jenkins. So now we have to do that thing. We have to deploy it. So I will go back to the home page of Jenkins. Then I will click on create job. So I will provide the name EKS deploy AWS. And this is a pipeline. So I will click on this. Now we will provide the pipeline script. So I have the pipeline script. I will copy this and then paste it. And let's understand exactly what it's doing. So I will just remove this first. So the first thing that we are setting the parameters, and in that parameters we are specifying the TFS file. So we have to specify that TFS file. Then we also need to specify the action. So we have apply and destroy. So I will add one more, which is plan. So like if you want to run a plan before apply, so you can do that. Then after that, it is cloning the repository from Git, and after that it is running the Terraform init command, and then it will validate whether the configurations are correct or not. And for that, we already set up the working directory, which is EKS-df, in which our Terraform configuration presents. Then we are running the Terraform plan, and this is actually like mandatory. It will always run. So I will just remove this, and I can create one more stage where if we want to run Terraform plan. So I will run Terraform plan. So this is plan, this is apply, and this is destroy, and else invalid value for Terraform action. Also, you can provide, like you can use the drop down menu, but for now I'm just using this. So this is the very basic Jenkins pipeline. I will copy this and again I will paste it. So as we have few configurations updated in this configuration for Terraform, so I will push the code for this first. Go to this git status, git add backend, fix backend for EKSDF. Now the changes has been pushed, so we can click on apply and save. And let's build the pipeline. And first time it will fail because we are not able to see the parameters. So I will click on build now. And yes, as we can see that it is failed. And if I just go to the console output, so we should be able to see the error, and we can see that okay, so there is some typo error that we can fix. So I will just go to the configure, and yes, this should be here. So I will click on apply, and also I will fix it here as well. I will click on build now again. And this time it's started running. So it means there is no syntax error. So now we can see that there is some things that it needs to run, like providers. I think the issue is that we already have .terraform.local file, so we have to remove this file to run this, and that's why it's in. That's why the error is coming again and again. So I will remove this file and make sure that whenever you're working in the real-time project, so you don't have to provide these file, because this is the file that needs to be generated again and again according to your requirements. So I will write remove .terraform log file, and I again rebuild this, and I will click on rebuild. Now we can see the parameters, but like again it will come, it will the error will come again. But let's see. So now it's getting the new commit, which is remove Terraform log, so it should work now. Like it should not fail at Terraform init. So we can see the configuration is valid. Also, it is able to fetch the 6.23 version. Then we can see the version for Terraform plan, and we can see that 11 to add. So the plan runs successful without any issues. So if we just go here, so we can see that plan is work. Now I will click on this to build the Terraform. So to apply the configuration, so I will just select this Terraform apply. Here it is our CFS file. So I will click on build. Now it will take around 15 to 20 minutes to deploy the EKS cluster, because the cluster takes a lot of time. So we can wait, and meanwhile we can start working on other things that we have to do. So let's go to the, so let's just see the logs first. So we should be able to understand that, okay, it's working. So yes, it start working. So now it started creating cluster. So let's move to the next thing. So I will just update the process.md file first, where we have created the job, deploy the EKS cluster using Jenkins. So it's in, like, I would say completed, but we have to check it again. So now the next thing that we have to do, we have to install the multiple tools. So we will come to this part again once the cluster has been configured. For now, let's move to the next thing. Like ArgoCD and all those things, we can do it later, as we have to configure Jenkins. So this is a step 7 we have to follow, which is install the required plugins and configure the plugins to deploy our trace application version V. So these are the tools that we have to use. So I will open the same Jenkins in the another tab and go to the manage Jenkins and plugins. And let's search for the plugins in the available section. So we have to install Docker Commons, Docker Pipeline, Docker API as well. And Docker build step is have some issues, and so that's why we are not going to install it. Then we can go with the Node.js, because Eclipse Tamarind installer is used for OpenJDK. So we can go simply with Node.js. Then we have to install the dependency check. So I will write OWASP. We have the dependency check. Then we have to install the SonarQube. There are 7 plugins that we have to install. So I will click on install. And as soon as it will install, so we need to restart it. So I will click on restart. So meanwhile, the cluster is already in the creation phase, and the Jenkins is restarting. So let's see what are the things that we need to do after this. So we have to access our SonarQube. So there is one more thing that we have to do. So let's access the SonarQube first. So I will SSH in the machine again. And we just need to get the IP. So I will copy the IP, and it should be working on 9000 port, and I will add the password, and the password is admin and username is also admin. Then we will generate the new password. So make sure the password should contain minimum 12 characters. So I will click on update, and now we are here on the SonarQube. So we are logged in our SonarQube. Meanwhile, we can also check in the Jenkins. The plugin has been installed. So after logging into the SonarQube, we have to create the token. So for that, we will go to the administration and then click on security. And in the security, we have users. Here we can create the token. So I will write Sonar token, and I will keep this for 30 days. And I will copy this token in my VS code. Also, I can copy it here so I can use it on my Jenkins. Then I will click on close. So then after creating the token, we have to create the webhook. So for that, the webhook configuration we will be able to find in configuration. So this is the webhooks. I will click on this. Now we will create the webhook. So the name we have to provide for the webhook is Jenkins, and then the URL we have to provide is the IP for the Jenkins with the port number itself. And then we have to provide the SonarQube-webhook slash in the suffix. So we will get the IP of our Jenkins from here. Then I will copy it here. I will paste it here. Then we will write the webhook name is this. And then I will click on create. So before configuring the tools, we can add the credential for our Sonar token, because steps that we already know we can follow it without log. So this should be secret text, and the secret needs to be this. So the secret will be this, and I will use the secret token is sonar hyphen token. So now I will click on create. Now we can configure the tools. So I will go to the manage Jenkins and tools. I will just search for Node.js, and just we can see this. I will write Node.js, and the version is 25, but our application will have lower version because we are using 14. Then after that, we have to configure dependency check. So for that, the name we will keep dp check, and it should be installed automatically. And add installer, I think that should be GitHub. Okay, and we can see this is the dependency check. Then the next thing, we have to install Docker. We will install it from Docker Hub itself. Then we will have to configure SonarQube. So I'll search for SonarQube. So here it is, the Sonar, and the name would be sonar-server. Then I will click on apply and save. Now we have to set the paths for our SonarQube. So for that we have to go to systems under manage Jenkins. So I will search for Sonar, and here we can see this. Now I will click on add, and the name should be Sonar Scanner. After that, we have to provide the IP of the Sonar. So this is the IP. Then we have to provide the token to authenticate with the SonarQube. So we have already added the credentials. I will click on sonar-token. Then we will click on apply and save. After that, we have to, okay, so we can see one thing, like our EKS cluster configuration has been failed, I guess. Okay, So let's see what exactly the error. Interrupt received. Okay, so yeah, it is expected because we were restarting our Jenkins server and that's why it just got stopped. So I will click on rebuild. So it will still continue from there. So this time I don't think so it will take more time because few things already configured. So if I just go to the Kubernetes cluster, so the cluster should be there without compute resources. So yes, we can see, and the compute should not be there. So yeah, that's the issue. No worries, it will continue from here itself. If I just go to the logs, yeah, that because like we just interrupted it all automatically, so that's why it is not able to write the things in the tf state file, and that's why there is item potency thing is not, so it's not working. So for that, what we can do, we can just delete this cluster. So like this time we are not going to restart anything, and we will make sure that it will run as it is. So I will click on delete. Yeah, because of this stuff, it increases our overheads. But yeah, like sometimes these kind of silly things he used to teach you something. It will take some time, and then we will again restart the pipeline. So let's just go to this. So yeah, the cluster has been deleted. So I will rebuild this pipeline, and let's take a look for at least 1 or 2 minutes. So I will go to the logs and let's see the logs. Now it is started creating the EKS cluster. Yeah, now it started working, but still we will continuously checking. So let's go to our other steps that we have to do. So far we have configured our SonarQube. So the next thing that we have to set up our pipeline for our source code, but like as the EKS cluster is deploying and I don't want to directly deploy the things. So meanwhile, we can understand the source code. So I will just remove this file so you will be able to understand. And I configure Jenkins for multiple tools, including SonarQube. This is completed. Now the next thing is deploy source code via Jenkins on EKS. So let's understand the code. So the code is present in Tetris-V1 and Tetris-V2. So let's understand the V1. So like we are not understanding the code. We are just here to understand the Docker file that we are using to build our image. So this is the image node version 16 we are using because at that moment node 16 was a little bit updated version at that moment. So we are using it, and according to the application, like there are no recent changes in the application, so that's why we are still using 16. And there is no issue with that because if your application is compatible with that version, you should go with that. Otherwise it may break the things in the latest version. Maybe few things are not compatible with your existing application. So we are using node 16, then we are setting up the work directory. Then after that, we are copying the package JSON files that contains all the package related things. Then we are installing the dependencies, that whatever the dependencies or packages name presents in this JSON file. Then we are copying the entire code, and after that we are building the code, and then we are exposing our application on 3000 port, and in the end we are running our application. So this is the CMD, so it will run when the container will start. Also, you can split it into multi-staging because like you can do it, but for now I'm not doing it. If you want, you can do that. It won't take much time. So this is for Tetris V1, and if I just go to the version V2, so There is only UI enhancement in the version 2 and everything remains same. There is no changes from the Docker file side or our infra side. So for that we have set up the pipeline. So I will just go through the pipeline first. So these are the tools that we are using. In my opinion, we don't, so JDK is not needed in this project. Then we need SonarQube scanner. So for that we already set up this in our manage plugin. So we need to use this. So whenever the pipeline will be started, so it will clean the workspace first. Then after that, it will clone the repository from here. Then it will start analyzing the code, and the code you can see here. So currently we did not create the project in SonarQube. So we will also going to do that. Then we will do the quality checks that we have used to implement in the SonarQube. Then we are installing the dependencies. So this is, we are installing it because we need to check the dependency check. So this is the DP check we are doing. Then we are doing the file scan. So again, this is the version V. So we are doing the file scan in the version V. Then we are building the image. So for that, we have some things like we are cleaning all the images. Then we are cleaning the existing container that not needs to be run. So for that, I will just remove this. Then we are pushing the Docker image to the Docker Hub. So for that, we need to also add the credentials for the Docker Hub. Then we will be scanning the Docker Hub image via Trivy, and then we will check out the code from this, like whatever the changes, and we will update the deployment file with the latest tag. So you can see that the tag is getting updated from here, and we have to add the personal access token for our GitHub because we have to push the image tag to the GitHub repository. So for that, it will do that thing. And as soon as the changes will be reflected, ArgoCD will trigger the deployment and it will deploy the new version. So let's see whether the EKS cluster has been configured or not. So yeah, it's still creating. So meanwhile, we can configure our project for SonarQube. So for that, we will go to the projects and we will create a local project because we are testing it for now. Then after that, we have to provide the project display name, project name. So the project name will be Tetris and the branch is master. As per my understanding, this is the master branch that we have the code. Then I will click on next. Then we will go to the click this follow the instance default. So our project has been created. Now we will again use this locally thing, and we have already the token, so we will use that token. I will get the token from here and I will click on continue, and the code is we have node.js based code. So I will click on this and we can use this thing, and that we have to replace in our pipeline. So if I go to the pipeline for the SonarQube section, so we can see this one. I will just copy this, and the things that we have to change, I will just keep those things. So the project key would be Tetris, and project name is also Tetris. And apart from that, everything remains same. You can also use this, but you can see that there are a lot of things like token and things. And if I just go to the back, so analysis, in analysis method, you can see with Jenkins. So let's suppose this is the platform GitHub, and if we go this, so we will get this thing that we can use for our SonarQube analysis. So we can use this thing as well. So let's do this. Let's use this thing. So you will be able to understand how to work with this as well. So you can see this is the project that we have created. So this is that we already done. Now what I'll do, I'll just copy the same thing for the V2 as well. And I think everything will remain same, but we need to update the with Sonar version only. Let's check other things that we need to remove. So we don't need JDK. Then I will also remove this command as well. So this is done. Now we can see that again there is another failure that we got, and this is related to EKS node group. So the Kubernetes version 1.32 or earlier it's supported, but it doesn't support 1.33. So let's fix that error as well. So the node group issue has been resolved. So I'll tell you what exactly I did. So earlier there were one line added where the AMI type was compatible with 1.32 Kubernetes cluster version or earlier. But as we are using 1.33 Kubernetes cluster, so it is not supported this. So for that, we just need to remove this line and it will automatically fetch the latest compatible AMI type for the Kubernetes node groups. So this is very small thing that we did. Now you can see that the EKS cluster node group also has been created. So we did a lot of we did say a lot of things in our current configuration, and it is obviously it is not related to that we are writing the configuration in a wrong way. It is because that the script is already 2 years ago, like as we already updated the Kubernetes cluster version, so that's why the error is coming. So it's fine. Now we can move forward with the things. So as we already set up the pipelines, now we can move forward to the the SonarQube project thing has been done. Now we will add few of the credentials that we need. So I will just go to this, and the first thing that we have to add is our credentials for GitHub. So I will go to my GitHub account. So I will go to the settings section, and then we will have developer settings, and I will go to the personal access token, and then we have to generate the new token. Now I will write Tetris project. Will provide the few permissions that I think we needed. Then I will copy this and let's create the credentials. And also we can see the credentials from here, like what is the name of this, which is GitHub. Okay. So I will use secret text, and then this is the secret and the ID would be GitHub. Then the next thing that we have to do is for our Docker Hub login. So this is our Docker Hub account, and we have to generate the personal access token here. So I will go to the personal access tokens section, and I have already generated one of the tokens. So I will delete this first and then generate new token. I will also write the description for this. Then I will keep 30 days and we'll keep read and write because we have to push our images, so that's why we need it. So I will just copy this personal access token. Then we will add the credentials in username and password. The username would be avian19 and the password would be this. Now let's see the ID that it is using for pushing the images. So this is Docker. These are the tokens that we have added. So now we will log into our AWS machine. So let's bootstrap to the Kubernetes cluster. So I will just go to my terminal and I will do the SSH again. And we have to configure the AWS credentials first. So I will get the credentials, which is we'll copy the credentials from here. Then the region would be UST1. Now after that, I will run the command to bootstrap the Kubernetes cluster. So the cluster name, we need to get it. And let's see the cluster name. Then the region would be USC Stone. So now the cluster has been bootstrapped. Now let's check the nodes. And we can see there are two nodes running. So now we have to configure ArgoCD and then we have to configure our load balancer controller to deploy the application outside of the Kubernetes cluster. So anyone can access our application outside of the Kubernetes cluster. So to install the ArgoCD, we need to have Helm first. For that, we will be installing Helm. So I will get the command for it. So I will remove these things. So if we validate via Helm version, so we can see that Helm is installed. Now let's install the ArgoCD. So let's do that. So to install ArgoCD, for that we need to create the namespace first. And after creating the namespace, we have to apply the manifest. And as soon as we will run this command, it will create multiple resources that you can see. Now, if we check all the resources in the ArgoCD, we can see the things. Now we have to access our ArgoCD outside of the Kubernetes cluster. So for that, we have to patch it. So we have to patch one of the service, which is ArgoCD-server. So ArgoCD-server service. So this is the service that we have to patch with the load balancer type. So if I just run this command, now if I just check the service, now we should be able to see that this is the load balancer type service created. So now let's try to access this on our browser. So now we can see that the state, I think, has been configured fine. So if I just click on advanced and click on the URL, so we should be able to access our ArgoCD. And yes, we can see this. Now we have to log in. So to get the password, we need to run one more command. So we will run this on our terminal. And this is the password that we will use. Then I will click on sign in. And now we can see that our UI of ArgoCD. And now we can create the application. So we can write application Tetris app. We can provide the project. Then we have to provide the repository. So I will provide the repository URL this. Then we have to provide the manifest file. And this is the manifest file that we can provide. namespace would be default, or let's check the namespace that we have added. So the namespace is default, and now we can click on create. But we have to provide the path, which is the manifest hyphen file. Now we can click on create and make sure the application name should be in the lower letter and click on create. So now there are few things that we need to take care because I did not update this manifest file. So first of all, I will just remove this, and this type, the service type would be load balancer because we did not configure AWS load balancer controller currently. And we are just going with the normal way where we are just deploying the application. But for the most of the cases, you should use load balancer controller. So for that, I will click on git status and I will update. Now let's update the most of the file. So I will update the manifest file. Fix manifest. So for now, we are not going to focus on this ArgoCD because currently the application is out of sync, and this is fine because we did not deploy our application on Jenkins. So now we will be going to deploy our source code using CI/CD. So we will have multiple troubleshooting again because we are setting up the CI/CD pipeline for the application, and let's do that. And whatever the errors we will face, we will solve them one by one. So let's go to the Jenkins and I will create a new pipeline and we will keep it Tetris V1, and this is the pipeline. And there are multiple like options. If you want, you can directly paste the pipeline or you can use the pipeline from SCM. So for now, I will just copy this from here and paste it here. And then I will click on apply and save. So now we can click on build. I'll just refresh it. And we can see there is one error. So it is saying that no tool named sonar-scanner. So let's see whether we have configured the correct tool or not. So I will go to the tool section. I think we did not configure this checklist, so that's why the error is coming. So I will click on apply and save. And after that, I will rebuild this pipeline. So again, I think the same error is coming. Let's check. So the issue is that you can see in the SonarQube scanner, we kept it sonar-server. So that's why the issue is coming, and we just need to change it to sonar scanner. So I will apply and click on save. So this is under tool that we made the changes, and then we have to make the changes in systems. So in systems, this is sonar-scanner, which should be sonar server. So I will click on apply and save again. Now we will rebuild this. So I will go to the pipeline and click on build now. And this time I'm hoping that this should work. So now it's started working. So the tool declaration is working fine. And now we can see that the workspace and other things has been working fine. Now let's check the logs. Now we can see that it is installing the plugin and all those things. So also we can check the SonarQube dashboard as well. So I will click on Tetris and we should have some codes once the scanning has been completed. So for now, let's wait for the pipeline to get completed. So as you can see that we are able to see the code quality analysis and the quality gate has been passed. You can also configure the quality gates, coverage, reliability and maintainability according to your requirements. So currently we have 1.3k lines, and then in that there are duplications and all those things you can see. Currently we have 0.0% duplication, but our pipeline got failed at install dependencies. So let's check what was the issue. So we can see that one error is node error while loading library. So for that we need to install one package. So like on that node we have to install, because in Ubuntu 22 there is a library that is not available. So that's why we have to configure this to fix this error. So let's do that. So I will go to the machine and SSH on the Jenkins server. Then I will run the command apt-get install -1, and the error related to the package is libatomic. I missed that one. Now we can see that it is installing and I think it's completed. So we can run the pipeline again and I will rebuild it. Now we can see that the npm install command is working now. And if this will work, so the next thing would be dependency checks. I would like to tell you in the prior that it will take around 20 to 25 minutes prior. So don't worry, like if it will take that time. So as it takes more time, so I will see you in a bit. Now we can see that our pipeline is successful, and we can see that also like it also update the image tag. So if I just refresh this manifest file folder, so there should be the update we can see. And yes, we can see that the update deployment image to version 5. So the tag has been updated from version 5. So earlier when I've deployed this application, so the recent version was 4. So that's why it is updated to 5, as it is just incremented by 1 with the previous version. So now we can create the application to deploy the application that we have run through CI/CD. So I will provide the name to application is Tetris app. Then we will provide the sync policy is automatic. Then I will get the repository name. So this is the URL of the repository, and I provide .git. Then we have to provide the name of our file. So we just need to provide the manifest-file. Then in the destination, we will provide the cluster URL, which is default.svc, and the namespace would be default. And rest thing would be as it is, and I will click on create. And as soon as you will click on create, you will see that it will start deploying the application, and we can see that it is start creating the containers and service is already created. And if we check the load, and if we check the load balancer, so it creates a new load balancer. And if I see the container, so the container is getting created, and we can also see the tag, like what is the tag it is using. So the tag name is, so we can see the tag is 5, and this is a Tetris version 1. So let's go to, again, let's see the container deployed or not. Yes, the container is deployed. So if I just copy the URL and let's try to access the application, and make sure to add the HTTPS in the prefix. And now it should start serving after configuring the, like once the state has been provisioned. So it takes some time. So it's started working because the application was listening on HTTP. Like we can see our application, and if I just start playing, so you can play this game if you want. Now we have to move forward. We can't continue to play this game as we have other tasks as well. So let's, like, the next thing that we have to do is that we have to deploy the version 2. So for that we have a different pipeline, but again, instead of creating the different pipeline, we should use the different code. So now we will deploy the version 2 of this application. So for that I will create a new item, and in that I will keep the name is Tetris -v2. Then I will select this pipeline, and then I will copy the content of the Tetris version v2 for the Jenkins pipeline, and I will paste it and click on apply and save. The thing that we are doing, that we are just creating the two pipelines, but whenever you have some more changes, whenever you are updating your application, so for that you will have one simple application, one simple pipeline. You're not going to create different pipelines. So don't misunderstand here that you have to create a different pipeline for each version. I'm just telling you for the better understanding. So I will click on build now, and according to me, again, it will take some more time. So let's wait for it first. And if I will go, you can see that the SonarQube is working fine, and the analysis was ran 50 minutes ago. All credit goes to dependency check. And let's see the version 2, and this is running. So again, yeah, I'll see you in a bit, because all the process are same, and it's not like no one wants to see the pipeline running forever, because it is taking a lot of time. Like last time it runs for more than 40 minutes. So yeah, let's wait for this. So fortunately, it took less time compared to the previous, because we already run the dependency check on the existing application. So if I go to the version 1, so we should be able to see the dependency check report. So this is the dependency check report. And if we click on it, we can see the common vulnerabilities, and there are 17 vulnerabilities which are critical, and then 33 which are high, and 28 for medium. So like from here we can see, and also we can check particular vulnerabilities. Like if I want to check with 997, so we can do that thing as well. So you can search for the specific vulnerabilities. So like these kind of things used to help us while deploying our code in the production environment or any important environment where we have to avoid these kind of vulnerabilities. So let's go back to our version 2, and I hope it is on the way to deploy as soon as possible. So currently the Docker image is building, and I hope that the version should be, like, the version would be changed. Along with that, we will also see one of the few changes. So let's see what will be the change we can see. So in the deployment file, we can see that this is the Tetris v1, and it should replace with Tetris v2. So there will be a new image. So we can also check it from our Docker Hub. So I will go to the Docker Hub. and let's go to the image section. So for that we have this URL. Now we can see that it is pushed the image 21 minutes ago, which is Tetris v1, and I'm expecting that it will push the image with v2. And let's see the tag of this image. And I can simply search for Tetris v2, and we can see this is the version. So it will push the image with this name, which is Tetris v2. So we will have one more image which will Tetris v2. If you want, you can also I can search it because this is updated 2 years ago and it has some vulnerabilities by Docker Scout, it is saying, but we will have the image. So let's wait. So our Jenkins pipeline is running, so let's wait for it. And now it is pushing the image to the Docker Hub. So as you can see, this is the UI of the version 1, and what are the changes. Whatever the changes we will see in the version 2, that will show us that this is the version 2 that we have deployed. So again, I will go to the pipeline, and so it pushed the Docker image. Let's validate it. So if I just refresh it, so we should be able to see, and yes, we can see that the version is tag 1. So it is updated with v1 instead of v2. So it's fine. It should, the image name is different and the tag name is different, so there won't be any issues. And now it is updating the image, but we got some error. So let's see what are the errors we get. So I think there is some logic issue. So we can do one thing, that we just keep this Tetris v1 only, and whatever the changes that we have to do, we will do via v2. So what I'm trying to say is that we will be going to pull the code for Tetris-v2 directory, but we will build the application with the image name is Tetris v1, and it will have the different tag. I will just replace the tag for the Docker image. So first we will do this, and the tagging also needs to be updated, because in the deployment.yaml file we have Tetris v1, or we can also do some other things, but this is the least overhead things we can do. So I will just copy this, and I will again configure this, and I will replace this with the new file, with the updated file. And now let's run this again. So now we can see that the pipeline is successful, and if I just check the repository, so we should be able to see Tetris v1 on the top. And yes, we can see. And if I just go to the ArgoCD, so it should also deploy the new version of the application. So let's check the GitHub repository first. So currently the version is 5, so it should be version 2 or 3. So yes, the version is 2. But we can see that it didn't deploy the latest version. So if I just check the image tag for this, so it should be version 5. Yes, but it didn't trigger right now. So yeah, because by default it takes some time. So you have to set those things, you have to enable the GitHub webhook to, so whenever there would be any push, so GitHub will trigger the ArgoCD to deploy the application. So what we can do, we can just simply come here, and so like as you can see that meanwhile I was trying to edit something, but it also started deploying the new containers, and this time it has the image, like it should have the image version 2. So yes, we can see that this is the tag 2. So like as you can see that there won't be any downtime, as we are using by default rolling update default deployment strategies. So that's why the application is still accessible. So let's wait for some time whether it will deploy the application, all the pods of this deployment, and then it will remove the existing pods so we can able to access our version 2 of this application. So now we can see that all pods are up and running, and if I just refresh this, so now we can see the new UI of the application. And if we click on start, so now we can see that the UI of this application has been updated. So that was the version 2 about it. Now everything is working fine, and we can also see the application, our pipeline got successful. And also there is one issue that we can see in the SonarQube. So if you just filter the failed one, so you can see the issues. So if I go to this, so there would be some condition failed. So it is saying that there is one issue. And if you want to know the issue, you can see, click on the issue, and it will tell you that like there is index.html, in that there is some issues like meta view port. So it will also recommend you where the, it will also tell you where the issue is that. So this is the issue it is saying. So like as we are not developers, so we are not that much aware about this code. So it's not our responsibility to fix it. It's developers' responsibility to fix it. If I just check the Docker Hub, so we can see that this is the image that is pushed with the tag 2 3 minutes ago. So yes, this is about this project. I hope you learned something new from this, and like these kind of things we used to do in our industry projects. Like it is very basic project, but we will have multiple tiers for the application, multiple microservices to deploy the application on Kubernetes cluster. But the main point is to explain you how we used to integrate things with each other, where we configured Jenkins server via Terraform. Then we configured multiple tools like Docker, SonarQube, Trivy, dependency check. Along with that, we also configured SonarQube, and in that we were able to do the code quality analysis. So there are a lot of things, and one of the major thing that we did is we are deploying on Kubernetes. So we have worked on EKS, and then after that we also used ArgoCD. So if we check the pods, so we can also check the pods. So I will run kubectl get pods. So we can see that our pods are running, and if we check everything, so we can see that thing as well in the default namespace. So we should have the service for our Tetris. Then we can see replica set for the current and deployment. So this is very basic application again, as I've told you. So you can enhance this project by adding the monitoring tools like Prometheus, Grafana stack. And also if you want, you can add the ingress controller on top of service. So your application will be exposed via ingress controller instead of service, which is one of the important thing. So this is it. And now the main important thing that we have to do is we have to clean up this project. So for that, the first thing that we have to do is we have to run the pipeline that we have set up for EKS. So Before that, I will just delete this application, so it will delete all the load balancer and whatever the things that is created. So otherwise there would be issues we will face. So I will click on this. So as soon as I deleted this, I can see all the resources should be deleted. Now we can see that only load balancer of service is there, and it should be deleted as soon as possible. And yes, we can see that the load balancer is deleted. Okay, now we can run the pipeline to destroy this, and I will select the destroy and I will click on this. Then again it will take some time, around 8 to 10 minutes. This time it will take to destroy all the EKS related stuff. And after that, once you delete all these things, so make sure you delete the Jenkins server as well. So you will find the Jenkins server in Jenkins server directory, and here you just need to run the Terraform destroy command. So this is the command that I have to run. Like I will just replace it with destroy, and don't run this command before deleting this entire setup. Otherwise you have to delete the EKS cluster manually. So this is very simple way to delete it. That's why we used to set up CI/CD for this kind of stuff. So this is it, and as it will take some time, so that's why I don't want to stay for long. And that's it for the today's video. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Have a good day.